We'll talk about that.
It's quite poor. Hello everybody, my name's Ian.
I'm Jason.
This is Jason. This is the Sinners, I was going to say Sinners Music Podcast. It's not actually the Sinners Music Podcast, it's a Sinners Review Podcast, isn't it? But we're all connected to Sinners Music, which is a small record label based here in Studley Froome.
Have you got a Sinners t-shirt on?
I've got a Sinner t-shirt. This is a prototype from when I did the original Sinner. That's why I didn't say Sinners Records.
Right.
But so those people that are listening to this have got no idea what it looks like. It's black with some sort of very gothic sort of painted. I painted that myself.
Did you?
Yeah. It's special stuff that you can. It goes in the wash all right. I may end up doing this as a proper t-shirt actually, which just says Sinner, because in the back it should say, it doesn't, but it should say with my head held high, which was part of a lyric in a song that's where the name of the record label come from. Anyway, so if you've not been here before, we're just two old blokes nattering about music and art and books and anything else we fancy talking about. So this is part two. So part one is linked down below. Part one is about South by Southwest, controversy, Taylor Swift and cinnamon buns. And this is going to be about the top 10. So two old blokes talking about the top 10. I have listened to every song all the way through in the top 10 and I've scored them out of 5.
Well, I take my hat off to your research.
Yeah, so I've done that. I haven't done any other research.
I did some research, so I can do the boring bit if you want on stats,
okay.
how it's calculated.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Because it's certainly changed over time. I have listened to them, but I'll be honest, it was kind of just after I finished my lunch, 15 minutes before I came to see you.
I see, right, yeah.
I gave them
I spent all morning doing this.
I gave them a quick blast through. So I guess maybe just a bit of an explainer on kind of how they're calculated, although it is pretty complex now. But I guess if we go back to the beginning, kind of in the 50s, it was literally ringing up some record shops and saying, what have you sold this week?
Yeah.
And using that as the straw poll to compile the charts. It's pretty complex now, but the first thing I was looking at was interested in what's the volume that's calculated in physical sales. So there still is a separate physical sales chart.
Oh, right, okay.
So even though you and I, when we were getting ready for this, we looked at the overall official UK charts, which includes everything. But if you look on there, there is a tab, and it talks about the separate physical sales charts, which was interesting. Your good friend Bono is number 1.
Oh God!
But the top 10, it was quite interesting.
Just before you move on, can I just say, I have a badge. I mean, I will say about you two. I had an Irish girlfriend. Went over to Ireland before I met my dear wife. Went over to Ireland. Spent a week in there. Nobody knew who you two were. But they were everywhere down Grafton Street and in Dublin, right? Fell in love with you two, came back here, nobody knew us, but bought the first album, bought the second album, bought the third album, thought they were great at that point, then got lost interest. But I now have a badge, which I can't find at the moment, and it's just a picture of Bono and it says twat. So, I rest my case.
So, the separate physical sales charts, what was quite interesting about it is what it's made up of. So I just looked at the top 10. So Bono's number 1, Pulp are number 2, because they're back, new album.
Yeah, actually, is it out, the new album? I know there's a single out.
It is out, I saw it.
I need to listen to it, because I always liked Pulp.
Orbital's number 3, because they've re-released that Brown album. I was going to buy that yesterday, but it was £47.
Ooh, no.
I've got it on CD, so I didn't need the vinyl, actually. Suede are in there. The Cure are in there. Suede have recently released something.
I was slightly late to Suede, but I have got the first 3 albums, and I think they're really good, And then there was the sort of spin-off, the Tears thing, which sounded like Suede, but,
So Suede, The Cure, New Order, and then 1975. They were only the band from more recent times in the physical charts.
I saw 1975 as a support band to the Pets in Manchester back in the day, and I just didn't really get them, and I never have really. It's just not for me. They played all right. I mean, Jane liked them better than me actually, but I saw them as a tiny support band in a small club.
So the physical sales charts is obviously a generational thing. If it's those bands that were at their heyday was, the 90s and the 2000s, quite interesting. Obviously they're the people that are still buying physical. Yeah. Although I will say, when I went to HMV next to yesterday, I brought my vinyl. My daughter, who was with me, she came back with a big handful of CDs because I was buying because I've got a job.
Bank of Dad.
Yeah, exactly. But she bought 3 CDs, so she's still buying physical. Albums.
I saw a thing, a video on their YouTube, which said that the millennials are buying more CDs than just listening to streaming. The problem with streaming is fundamentally you rent it. You rent it for that month. If you then stop your subscription, you've lost your library, until you start again. So I think there is a bit of a backlash. It's not only on sort of music. I think we're also seeing it with films. How often do I come across, I think, I wouldn't mind watching, say, Love Actually. And suddenly you find that Love Actually is no longer free on some streaming service. You have to literally pay £5 or whatever it is to buy it. Whereas, if you bought the DVD back in the day, like you bought the CD, you've paid money for that physical copy. You can play it any time. And I think I'm certainly, for quite a while now, I've always, music that I couldn't get on streaming, I have always bought on CD. More so than vinyl. I tend to buy more second-hand vinyl than new vinyl. But I think I am moving back to buying albums that I really want on CD than just listening to them on streaming.
CD is still reasonably priced. Right?
Yeah.
You still get a brand new CD for 10, 11, 12
Yeah,
pounds.
exactly, yeah.
The price hasn't really altered since they came out in the mid-80s?
No. I mean, the bands the artists that I really like at the moment who are they haven't done albums yet, like Allure and Be In Her Business, who's got a new single out. We'll come back to that. I want to buy their albums on CD when they come out, and I will do that.
So on the charts then, while I was on the physical sales charts, which I didn't know was there, so I'm going to keep my eye on that.
Yeah, do you?
I thought I'd go back and look at what was the quantity of physical sales that made up the charts that gave you number one. So in the 80s you had to sell around 1 million physical sales to each chart. In the 90s it went up because CDs became very popular. So in the 90s it was more like 1.5 million for a number one. Candle in the Wind, when that was released, the Diana,
that was Diana
tribute
thing,
wasn't it? So that when that was re-released, that sold 1.5 million in the first week, and it sold 5.5 million overall when it was in the charts, and probably still sells now. So then you move into the 2000s, and digital downloads were introduced. So only downloads. This it was kind of pre-streaming, but digital downloads were introduced, and then the overall figure of physical sales then started to drop. So in the 2000s, it was less than 1 million for a number one for the first time, because they were counting the digitals. Now, 2006 was when digital downloads were included in the charts officially. The first single to top the charts from digital downloads only was Crazy by Niles Barkley. Remember that?
Yeah, I do. It's a great song. Great voice.
Yeah, no, still
superb voice. There was a dirty version.
Was it not Danger Mouse produced that?
I don't know. There wasn't a version that had the F word in it.
Right. It's a good song though.
It's a really good song, But I mean, and a
I
great
downloaded
voice.
at the time. I would have paid 79p for it.
Yeah,
at the time.
I mean, I bought some singles on iTunes back in the day, and a few albums, which I don't even know if I've still got access to them actually.
So that was the first one. If you ever go, you go to another quiz at the Hub. It's what was the first single to be in the charts?
Oh, I think I would have got that anyway. I think I knew that. Yeah.
So that was 2006. So that was digital downloads anyway. So that was in the days when you went to the iTunes store, for example. You paid. It was usually about 79p for a single.
I had a mate who would give me an album for my birthday every year on the iTunes store, which is still on my profile, I think. Nice. I mean, some of it I would never have bought, but it was always quite a nice thing.
So 2006 was download only. Then 2014 was when it started including the phenomenon that is streaming. So it's been around 10 years plus now, streaming in the charts. So how is it counted? Now it is a bit of a it makes my head hurt, but simply, so obviously you still count CDs, tape or vinyl. They're still counted individually, classed as one side.
I am amazed that tape is still part of it.
Well, tape's kind of coming back a little bit.
I know, there's little record labels that just do tape.
Yeah.
You know.
It's still there.
Yeah. It's worth mentioning, I have bought some tapes, but actually I've not ever listened to the tape because they usually come with a download, and I've listened to the download, you know, because I'm sorry, but the download will be far, far superior to what it will be a fairly poor quality tape, unless you've got something like a Nakamichi cassette deck, which will.
I've got a cassette deck somewhere. I don't know if it works.
Yeah, I put mine in the attic because I can't. I do need it. I want to use it at some point.
So obviously, you got the physical sales still count as one. So with streaming, 100 premium streams counts as one physical sale. So a premium stream is if you subscribe, if you pay.
Yeah, right.
So obviously all the streaming sites you can either pay or you can you pay and have ad free.
Yeah.
Or you're a lighter user and it's not ads. So if you're a subscriber, it's 100 streams counts as one physical sale. If you're if you're just an infrequent browser and you've got the ads, it's 600.
Wow.
Okay? So it's 6 times as a physical sale. So it's probably more than I thought, really.
Yeah.
Now, with streaming, it does become complex. There's something called ACR. It's not a certain ratio, if you remember that band.
I do remember. Sheffield.
Was it Sheffield? Was it?
I think it was Sheffield.
A certain ratio.
Somebody in the down below will tell me if I'm right or not. Yeah.
Up north from the Midlands.
You see,
somebody from the Midlands is from up north.
It's grim up north.
So there's a thing called ACR, which is accelerated chart ratio. That comes into effect on the 10th week of the release. So it then starts doing something, and it diminishes the amount of credits you get for each stream. It was quite a complex calculation. I'll maybe look at it a bit deeper, but it's to stop. I think it tails off after it's to keep the charts fresh, because what's happening with streaming.
I don't know that they're keeping them that fresh, to be honest.
Well, what it's trying to do is because obviously with streaming you've got access to everything that was recorded ever largely. Yeah. Things like the Beatles, things like Elvis, things like those big Pink Floyd, all those massive bands are still getting streamed very regularly.
Yeah.
So after the 10th week of a release, it tails off. So otherwise the charts would still be dominated by even Ed Sheeran's, hits from 10 years ago.
Was that thing about was it 10 tracks or 8 tracks of his albums was all in the top 10?
Yeah, so after the 10th week,
it
starts to diminish, so they disappear to let other stuff come through. So I know you don't like Spotify, but at least in the charts there is some understanding of that you've got to keep it fresh. Otherwise the charts would never change.
No, and just to clarify why I hate Spotify, Spotify is not a music company, they are a tech company, and they are doing nothing to support artists at all, no matter what Daniel Ek says. And I'm sure at some point in the future we will do a whole piece on Spotify. Go and read Liz Pelly's book, which is called Mood Machine.
Yeah.
Mood Machine. It's eye-opening. Anyway, carry on.
So that's enough of the theory. It's making my head hurt.
Right, okay.
But it's interesting, that transition though.
Yeah,
the physical
it
sales
actually really is.
In the millions,
yeah.
1.5 million, 2 million, dropped off when
So what we'll do is we will do the charts. Like I say, I've listened to them once.
You're going to do a countdown.
I'm going to do a countdown
best
from
radio
10.
Voice.
In the
best
10
radio voice.
Yeah, my best Yorkshire accent. So with the creaky chair. So we're going to go from 10 to 1. And what I've done is I've only listened to each song once. Although I did have to listen to number 10 twice because I needed to compare it to something. Before I say anything about the top 10, I was slightly disappointed that some of the songs have been on there for like 17 weeks. Or
29 weeks I spotted on. Chapel Rome was 29.
Yeah, 20, and and I have to be honest, I'm completely disappointed by some of the quality of the songs. on there. Right, I'll say number 10. Number 10 is Alex Warren, Bloodlines. Now, what I will also say is, with the exception of Chapel Roan and Calvin Harris and Ed Sheeran, I didn't know anything about any of these artists. I've never listened to them before. And so this is based purely and simply on one listen to each song. So Alex Warren, Bloodlines, it does remind me of Avicii's Wake Me Up, and a little bit like Mumford and Sons, because I had to go and listen to the Mumford and Sons track and listen again to Avicii's Wake Me Up, which I love and always have done. But I can see, I'm not saying that they actually sound directly like that, but you can see there's an influence there.
Similar chord progression.
It's country, it's folk, it's pop, it's a bit of dance. It's a cross-genre song. I don't dislike the song, if I'm honest.
Even though there's auto-tune.
There is auto-tune, and we're going to come on to some more auto-tune. I thought the auto-tune was okay, if I'm honest. Not too much. I gave it 4 out of 5. Okay.
I didn't score mine.
That's fine.
It was, acoustic. I just kind of acoustic. It's catchy. I can see why it's in the charts.
Yeah,
It's a chart.
Yeah, I've got good lyric, good pop folk country feel. Yeah.
It deserves to be in the charts.
It does.
Not my cup of tea.
No, actually, I could see. I mean, I might go and listen to one of his albums if I'm honest. It's off a debut album, I think.
I was looking at the record.
It's with somebody else, isn't it? It's with a country star who I'd never heard of.
Yep. So it's on Atlantic Records. I did capture the record labels. I was interested to see the spread of record labels.
One of the things I did look when I listened to each one, I also looked at how many people wrote the songs, because I think that's quite an important thing. Not an issue for him. I think it was 3 of them or 4 of them, no more than that. So a bit of a committee, but not compared to some of the others.
So he's from the US, California.
Yeah, American. Yeah.
Only 25.
Yeah, he's all right, and he has got a good voice.
Nothing against it.
Absolutely nothing.
It's what you'd expect to be in the charts. Deserved of it.
Then we had Somber.
Yep.
Somber.
SOMBR.
Yeah. Again, American, I think.
Yep.
Back to Friends. I've got indie soft pop feel. And I haven't finished my sentence here. Back to a poor man's something or other.
Well, it reminded me. So that one. So I think he's in the charts twice. So
he is
Back
in the
to
charts,
Friends one.
yeah,
So I put poppy, guitars, piano. It's on Warner Records. It's a guy called Shane Michael Blues.
That's right, yeah.
It reminded me of Keane.
It sounded to me, I didn't pick up on Keane, but I picked up on those sort of bands of that. So it's sort of indie pop, isn't it?
End of the 90s, into the 2000s.
Yeah, but it did sound like a lot of stuff.
Again, it's okay.
I was thinking Travis, but I'm not even sure that's fair, really. And I liked Travis.
A bit more cinematic than Travis, I think. Just because it was piano-led. But it was an okay song. Again,
I gave it 3 out of 5.
Oh, okay.
I liked it less than the Alex Warren, really. And it wasn't auto-tuned, or if it was, I never noticed it. Then we had the wonderful, if you like him, Ed Sheeran at number 8, with Azima.
Azam or something?
Azam, A-Z-I-Z.
So that's a collaboration with somebody as well, isn't it?
Yeah, apparently he co-wrote it with somebody. It's got a Middle Eastern feel. Good, I put here, good vocal, but sod off with the drop filter sweep. That was just so wrong in the wrong place. Did you notice that? He was like, "Oh, come on." He's trying to be a dance track. And
my observations were it was produced to within an inch of its life.
It was. It really was. But the drop, it was like, "Oh, for God's sake."
Well, I will say it's on his own label, so he's got his own label, which is a subsidiary of Warner.
It's a subsidiary of Warner's. It's not his own label.
Gingerbread
really.
Man Records.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I mean, and I'll be honest with you, I don't really like Ed Sheeran. I did have his first album. I thought as a songwriter he's okay. The song I really, really liked is the one he did with Anne Marie, which was it back in 2029, something like that. Really good song.
Passes me by, but you have to have respect for what he's doing.
Absolutely,
global superstar.
Yeah.
Considering he's died out, just him and his pedals.
Because of the filter sweep drop, I gave it 3 out of 5.
Understandable.
Yeah. Next we had Calvin Harris with Douglas. I didn't know who Douglas was, female singer from the UK. Blessings is the song, and I just went, oh my God, welcome back to 2007, very old school. I mean, honestly, it's not moved on. I mean, I thought vocally she did a really good job, but the song itself and the sounds that he used, and I know he's a DJ, but it's like there's absolutely nothing new there at all.
I would agree. It was 130 plus BPM, 133.
Was, yeah.
I actually checked 133 BPM, but absolutely, it's a standard EDM track.
Yeah. And
it's got the piano.
Yeah, it's all the stuff you've heard in 2007.
I think let's be honest. I mean, again, I don't knock him. I think he's one of the most successful guys in the EDM world. I think the song stands out because it's him, not because of the credentials of the song. Yeah, because it's got his name on it.
I'll give it 1 out of 5 because I
like EDM stuff, but it was a bit meh.
I mean, granted, an EDM is not.
I don't know how I'm.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. A lot of those sort of sounds we've heard them a million times at EMOMs by certain people.
Yeah,
up and down the country.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, I know that
it was very generic.
It was generic.
That's the right word
Absolutely.
to say. And again, I think he just gets the presence because it's him, and it's Columbia Records, which is part of Sony. It's just.
Number 6, we've got Tate McRae.
Yeah.
I've got very generic auto-tune vocals, very auto-tuned. Will fill the dance floor. I can see, in a club. Not a great song, but it had one good hook, and it's from a soundtrack to the film F1. A forthcoming advert for the FIA. I mean, I like Formula 1, but they're making a film. It's got somebody in it. It's got Brad Pitt in, I think, and somebody else. But that film will just be a vehicle to try and sell more bums on seats at Formula 1 races, which that's all about big business, really. It was written by a committee of 4 people. I actually didn't like the song at all.
It didn't resonate with me one little bit. There wasn't anything that interested me.
No,
I'll just read you the blurb on it.
Yeah, go on.
It's a fast-moving club track set to match the high energy of the film, featuring a driving beat during the chorus.
There you go.
It features a quick twitch percussion. Did you capture the quick twitch percussion?
I think I lost interest by then, actually. I almost did, and I thought, no, I can't do this. I almost stopped it 2/3 of the way through and thought, I've had enough of this.
It was, it was.
But I didn't. I listened to the whole thing.
There was nothing there that was catchy or earwormy that made me think.
No. I liked it slightly better than the Calvin Harris. He got 2 out of 5. But it was, and it's quite disappointing that I know that we're up
So she started out as a reality TV star.
Is she?
As a dancer before.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. I didn't know.
Making stuff. So.
Number 5 Pop Pickers from Smashy and Nicey.
You've got a good voice for radio. A good face for radio. That's the old joke, isn't it?
Exactly. We've got Sky Newman. Again, never heard of her. Family Matters is the song. I put down very dramatic, over the top vocal performance. It was and I thought the song wasn't particularly memorable, but the vocal performance was so. I mean, she sounded like she had a reasonably good voice, but it was so hyper dramatic that actually put me off. He did get 3 out of 5, but I mean,
it's a delicate yet powerful meditation on intergenerational healing.
Bollocks.
You know it is.
Nah, not really.
Written by her and 2 other.
Yeah.
folk.
And then number 4, we've got Somber again.
What score did you give it? Sorry.
3 out of 5.
3 out of 5. 3 out of 10.
3 out of 5. No, out of 5.
You're doing out of 5s. Okay.
Yeah, the reason I'm doing out of 5s is because that's what we do in Edinburgh.
Okay.
Everything at Edinburgh Fringe is out of 5, so I'll stick to that.
Okay.
I could give it out of 10, but
number 4 was Somber again.
Yeah, Undressed. Opening riff sounds like somebody I used to know. And actually, when I listened to it all the way through, apart from the break, which was very different, the whole vibe of the song was Gautier's Somebody I Used to Know. And I love that song. But it's almost like they've taken Gautier's song, gone, let's change it enough so it's different but the same. And
do you want to hear the blurb on it?
Go on then.
It's about fears in a romantic relationship and reluctance to move on. Written in C major.
Yes, I saw that. Yeah, just like Gautier, somebody I used to know. Yeah, exactly the same.
I mean, it was reasonable pop. It's the sort of thing that you see scattered around the charts, I think.
I just don't think it's very original.
Agree.
Yeah. And I was very generous.
I would say
I was going to say I was generous. I wasn't. I said I gave it 2.2 out of 5 for ripping off Gautier.
Okay.
You know. Then we're up to the top 3 pop pickers. Da, 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 da. That'll be a YouTube strike, won't it? So number 3 we have somebody I do know about, Chapel Roan. My daughter-in-law about a year ago said, you need to listen to Chapel Roan, you'll like her. And I do like her, generally. I liked her first album. She stole my Apple Music. But I have to say I don't like Pink Pony Club, really. It does start like I Will Survive by Gloria Gaynor, because it's like that piano thing. Very, very, almost identical, really. I said it's got a good hook. It's about a gay club that she visited. And the only other thing I didn't like about it, it's got a fade. Who does fades these days?
At the end?
Yeah, the end fades. It's so 1970s.
I don't think there's much wrong with the fade. It's better than a 1-minute drum outro for the DJ to mix into.
Finish the bloody song, right? Finish the bloody song.
Yeah.
I give it 3 out of 5. It's quite poppy. It's okay. It's not her best work, if I'm honest. There's better songs by her.
Again, Chapel Roan hasn't come into my orbit. It's been in the charts for 29 weeks, a big song. I put it on and Kelly went, oh, I know this one.
Yeah.
And started singing along.
I could
knew the words.
Yeah.
So you could see why it's Radio 1 fodder.
You could understand, I mean, the fact that it's about going to and apparently she did go to the gay club, and there are more and more things coming out about the gay community and trans rights and all that sort. By the way, have you heard, a slight sidebar, have you heard Kate Nash's new song, which is about trans rights, and it's almost like a spoken thing? I'm not a huge fan of this song. I've listened to it a couple of times, but it is worth a listen, because she's out there supporting trans rights, which is good. She's a good thing, But that's in the sidebar, right? Okay. Number two. Dun, 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 dun. So Raven Lene, Love Me Not is the song. I've got 50s, 60s feel, okay, but not great. 12 songwriters. 12 songwriters, and sounds like it. It is being described as retro pop. I would say that I thought there was a bit of a maybe
Amy Winehouse.
I thought of Amy Winehouse. That sort of feel, but not as good. Not in the same class. I mean, Amy Winehouse is harking back to 1950s and early 60s female singers. It was okay, but that was about it, really. I mean, the fact, I think it really did sound. It didn't sound like. It didn't have for me, a particularly strong enough. I said the hook was okay. When I said it was okay, the song was okay, I didn't say the hook was particularly okay. It just sounded like song by committee, and it clearly is sung by a committee with 12 songwriters on there, really. Everybody's putting their top line or their melody in there. And when you do that, you do end up with something that's a bit piecemeal, and it comes across as piecemeal. Do you want
to know the lyrics to the chorus?
Sorry? No, not really.
He loved me not, he loves me, he holds me tight, then lets me go. He loved me not, he loves me, he holds me tight, then lets me go. He loved me not, he loves me, he holds me tight, then lets me go. And once again, he loved me not, he loves me, he holds me tight, then
so
lets me go.
Somebody wrote that. Somebody got a 12th.
One of the 15 people.
A 12th of the royalties.
Oh, you're right. Wow. 2, 4, 6, 8. Yeah. 12 to 15, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No. I mean, and that is people. That is people coming up with.
Let's come back in June 2026 and see if she's still penetrating the charts.
Yeah.
I suspect she probably won't be.
What usually happens with things like that is that they've got it so far, they can't get it finished. They can't get it. They can't sit in a room do a Lennon and McCartney and get the song finished. So they bring somebody else in to add a bit more, and then that works for a while, and then they bring somebody else in and somebody else in. You know, so yeah, it's not a good way to write music, really.
What label's that on? Don't know, can't find it.
Right.
Oh, Atlantic Records.
Again.
They're interesting. So that's the label with the most records in the top
charts.
10, Atlantic.
Okay. No, and I wasn't going on it at all, really. I give it 3 out of 5.
Okay.
And then we're up to number 1.
Number 1.
Number 1. The number 1 this week is. That's actually quite. Yeah.
You've got a good face for radio. I always said that already.
Yeah. It's all right. You can say it twice. Yeah. If the joke doesn't land first time, just do it again. It's fine.
Repetition for emphasis. That's what it's called.
So we've got Ordinary by Alex Warren. Alex Warren Hughes, as his real name is, as his mum calls him. I've got Nice Intro, and I did really like the harp all the way through. Really, good vocal. He wrote it with a guy called Adam Yaron alongside a couple other people, so it is a small committee.
They could be the musicians in the band. You know,
they could
argue.
Be. Yeah.
That, did a transition or did a middle
that is a really good point. If you're in a band and you've got a band, and all 4 of you or all 5 of you have written a song, then you've worked it out in a practice hall and written the song together. That is different than like what happened with Raven, where there's 12 people involved because somebody else has been brought in because they're trying to make a hit.
Yeah, they could be the band members.
Yeah,
and, it could be the guitarist, and he figured out the transition.
And I mean, certainly Alex Warren, having listened to the 2 songs, not knowing who he was until this week, really, I would listen to an album. I think of his. I think it's not. I mean, a lot of music is harping back to other times. I think this does to a certain extent. But I thought it was a good song. I can see it. I mean, 17 weeks in a month, so it's not that. I think lots of people are out there liking it.
It's understandable that it's number 1.
Yeah.
It's understandable that it's a hit. It's very anthemic, very sing-alongy.
Yeah.
Kind of feel good. You could see it on a Razor advert or something.
Yeah, you could. Yeah,
an
and it will
advert
be
for Razors. I mean, it has. It's been number 1 in Australia, Austria, Belgium, Canada, Denmark, Germany, Iceland, Ireland, Latvia. You get the picture. It's been number 1 all around Europe, and it didn't say the US. Interestingly,
well, not everybody makes it to US. It's interesting.
Oh, it did. Sorry,
yeah,
it did. It
right.
did. Yeah, the Billboard.
Now, I want to say something about. Well, I mean, I'll give it 4 out of 5. I want to say something
4 out of
about.
5.
Yeah, I think it was good. It wasn't 5 out of 5 because I didn't love it that much.